this May 4th, 3:30 Caddo Parish work sessions to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Dominic. Present. Johnson. Jackson. Glenn.
Present.
Bowman. Hawthorne. Gage
Present.
Watts.
Here.
Middleton. Atkins. Chavez. Smith.
Here.
Lewis Johnson.
Here. Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if everybody is aware, but just wanted to bring to your attention that today is recognized as the National Day of Prayer. So in honor of that, we have asked several individuals to come forth in an ecumenical manner to provide our education for today. So with Pastor Theron Jackson, Neil Cantor, or Cantor Neil, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, and I don't know if Rabbi Janet is here, but if she's not, okay, all right. If you guys would please come forward and lead us in prayer.
To this commission and to all the citizens who are here, it is a privilege to be here to share with you on this day of prayer. I think prayer is always in order and always appropriate, so I invite you to join me in my faith tradition, if you will. Shall we pray? Oh, gracious God, our Father, how we thank you now for this day and for our lives, our health and strength. We thank you that when we come to this place, we're reminded not only about rights, but about responsibility. Thank you for the men and women who have invested their confidence in the men and women who they have elected to serve them. I pray now that you would give each of these elected officials a deeper and deeper commitment to servanthood. Thank you that as they serve, that our city, our parishes, and all of our areas become better because of their service. We thank you now for those who are not only here, but those who've come before them, that our struggle is yet to be a united community. So God, I pray now for your power to bring us into a oneness that will help us to bring Caddo Parish to a place that she deserves to be. Thank you now for this day and for this privilege of our gathering. I ask it all now in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Jackson.
God, whom we call by many names, we come before you today as civic officials and community leaders, and also as concerned citizens. We ask for your guidance and wisdom to help make our great metropolitan area a better place to live for all of our residents, those of all races, religions, ethnicities, genders, and economic levels. On this coming Sabbath, it is traditional to chant the Holiness Code of Leviticus chapter 19. In verse 15, the Bible says something a little surprising. It begins, "You shall not render an unfair decision," and goes on to say, "Do not favor the poor, nor show deference to the rich. Rather, you shall judge your kinsmen fairly." In the original Hebrew, it sounds like this. Lo tasu avil b'mishpat, Lo tisah p'nei dal, v'lo tedar p'nei gadol, b'tzedek tishpot amitecha. We may expect the Bible to command that judges not favor the rich, but why not favor the poor? Our commentators say that it is only through administering impartial justice based on law that the poor can be protected equally by law. The rest of the Holiness Code in chapter 19 does command extra compassion for the poor, such as leaving a portion of one's field and orchard to be gleaned by the poor. So God, help guide our leaders to enact decisions and ordinances that will ensure justice and dignity for every person, each of whom is made in your image. We ask for this help in your own holy name. Now let us all say, Amen.
Pastor Jackson, Neil, thank you guys for taking your time on very short notice to come down. We had got the note to do something special for this special day of remembrance, and I agree with you both that prayer should always be something that we rely on. I heard a FCA coach said prayer should be the steering wheel, not your spare tire. And so Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I don't know if you guys are going to stick around, but we appreciate you so much. And we did invite other faith and religions. They just could not make that time available in their schedules to be here, so I want to recognize that as well. Thank you.
We'll all turn and face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Commissioner Gage Watt, go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to suspend the rules and move Dr. Winsinger with the long proclamation.
Moved by Commissioner Gage Watt, second by Commissioner Matthew Lynn. Is there any objection to the suspension of the rules? Rules are suspended. We're in your hands, Ms. Clerk.
Okay, at this time, we have a special resolution recognizing National Health Women's Lung Cancer Week.
If you would please stand, and we'll be
I think you have the proclamation is at your desk, sir.
okay.
everybody all stand, please, for the reading of the proclamation, please.
In the name and by the authority of the Caddo Parish Commission, a proclamation, Women's Lung Health Week. Whereas lung cancer touches the lives of Caddo residents from every background and every community across our parish, and whereas though great strides have been made in combating this devastating illness, more women will be diagnosed with lung cancer this year. And whereas lung cancer is the #1 cancer killer of women and men in the United States. And whereas every 8 minutes, one woman in the U.S. loses her battle with lung cancer. And whereas an increased awareness will result in screening and early detection for people with lung cancer that will ultimately save lives. And whereas public support for research funding will result in better treatment and early detection methods that will ultimately save lives. Whereas Lung Force is a national initiative led by the American Lung Association to fight against lung cancer. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission that May 7th through May 13th be proclaimed Women's Lung Health Week in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, and urges all citizens to join the parish in recognition of this important week. Be it further resolved that during Women's Lung Health Week, the Caddo Parish Commission honors those we have lost, lend our strength to those who carry on the fight, and pledge to educate ourselves and our loved ones about this tragic disease. Be it further resolved that we stand with the mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, and friends who have been affected by lung cancer, and we recognize the ongoing efforts of dedicated advocates, researchers, and healthcare providers who strive each day to defeat this terrible disease. Signed, President Stephen Jackson, Doug Dominic, Vice President, Stormy Gage Watts, District 7.
Everybody can have a seat now.
Anybody was on the board to say anything?
No,
Said no one's on the board to say anything?
Commissioner, we're going to leave it in your hands at this time. Go ahead, Ms. Stormy.
Thank you. It gives us such pleasure to have you here with us on today, proclaiming the week of National Lung Cancer Awareness Week, especially among women. About 20 years ago, I lost my father to lung cancer. So this is a very sensitive and meaningful subject for me. So as we participate in the turquoise takeover, because that's what it is, you see the turquoise? We'll be wearing this in support of your organization. We want to say thank you for all you're doing and all that you will do. God bless you on this journey.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Ms. Gage Watts.
Okay, I'm going to show
Ms.
that
Gage Watts.
motion. You have some questions?
I had something I was going to say.
Oh, Commissioner Bowman.
I just wanted to commend her for doing that as well, and I understand how she feels. My mother had a piece of a part of that cancer as well, and so that was very admirable of what you did. So that's all.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to show the motion to be made by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts and seconded by President Jackson. With no objection, that proclamation will be approved by acclamation. And
Make a motion to move back in the regular session.
have a motion to move back in the regular session by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, seconded by Commissioner Chavez. If you would please vote. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
I see no agenda additions. There being none, we move to citizen comments.
All right, thank you. Citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning must fill out a comment card located in the chamber before you and return to the commission president or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. I did receive Mr. Kenneth Kreff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kenneth Krepp, 157 Archer. Even though y'all don't require that, I'm in the habit from council. Everybody, thank you, Stormy and my wife. 16 days now without a cigarette since April 18th, so we're trying after 53 years. There's a wonderful program at Piermont, and the head lady is Courtney Rayburn, and she's really good. She's a former smoker, and everything's paid for by the tobacco tax. Multi-billion-dollar settlement with the state attorneys general. You get your Wellbutrin, your nicotine patches, your gum, everything paid by that settlement. So encourage anybody who's interested, call Courtney at Piermont. And I didn't even know that this week was that she had her last cigarette as we finished our 1040 on tax day. And it's a very intoxicating situation for us. Safety. I'm kind of here every year, about once a year in the spring with all the tornadoes. I'd really like the Public Safety Committee, whoever they are. I'm sure that Commissioner Lewis Johnson, as a firefighter, saw way too many people injured and hurt from storms and fires and damage. But I just think this parish, this city needs a 9/11 building that is utterly storm-proof, high, flood-proof, fire-proof, tornado-proof, F5 tornado-proof. Today happens to be, coincidentally, the 10th anniversary of an F5 that hit, gotta Google the iBrain, Greensburg, Kansas, on a Friday. Nobody hurt. Everything destroyed except 4 buildings. 4 buildings. 2 F5 storm shelters, kind of like little igloos, little domes, 12 gauge steel and 3/4 inch lag bolts and concrete, and 2 grain silos, 220 feet high. F5, destroyed everything, but he couldn't get a hook, or she, whatever a twister is, couldn't get a hook. There's no right angles on storm shelters that are like igloos and grain silos, and so all that corn was safe in one, and I think it was wheat in the other. And think about that, and then go back to March 1st. March 1st this year was the 10th anniversary of the opposite. A tornado hit Enterprise, Alabama, and killed 11 high school kids. So let's get serious about safety. A couple other quick safety items. Yesterday, Natchitoches sirens went off. In Natchitoches, we still don't have them. Albert Pike, 20 people drowned because they were notified in the middle of the night by email and text message, and they slept through it. They drowned. Blast them awake with sirens. And a brief note on the election Saturday, mildly surprising, terrible turnout. We're going to have to do something for parks. I understand 98% of the parks funding comes from that millage. We're going to have to do something. And my suggestion is y'all come back at us November 6th of next year and share the cost 4 ways with the feds, the city, and the school board, and not bear it all alone. Share it with 3 other agencies. Thank you for allowing me to go first and get my friend. And thank you for testifying yesterday in Baton Rouge.
Thank you, Mr. Krepp. Thank you so much. Casey Kilpatrick Stone. Yay.
Hi, thank you so much for having us. Having me. It is May the 4th. May the force be with you. And it's also National, Foster Care Adoption Month. We have juvenile court also in the back. They are going to talk about their issues as well. But I'm here to talk about Go for Kids and Go Bags. And we had our event this morning. It was a great success, and I was very fortunate to have Commissioner Chavez come and ask me to come and talk a little bit about Go Bags and Go for Kids. When we received the children that we have from foster care last May 2013, they came with just the clothes on their back in a situation that no children should ever have to go through. And that's one reason why they were removed from Department of Children and Family Services, no fault of their own. They were 2 and 1. And that's whenever Go Bags came into existence. It started from my car, and then it went to Common Ground, and now it's at Northwest Family Justice Center. We've operated completely from donations and volunteers. I myself have given over 4,000 hours of volunteer service, and all of our board at least 1,000. But the point of it is that these children come, these are our children. These children grow up. And why we picked May the 4th to highlight that is that to kind of normalize something that's not normal. But Luke and Layla Skywalker couldn't help that their dad, Darth Vader, was the evil Lord of the universe. And everyone has a story, everyone has an origin, and it's not their fault. And it wasn't their fault, it's not these children's fault, and that's what these bags are, to show them love and support from the community. And we have been very fortunate that we've done about 3,000 bags since we started from the back of my car, all from donations. So in kind, each bag is about $50 a bag, and that's about $150,000 that go directly to the children. No one is paid, everything goes directly to the children. And that they're made by volunteers, combined by volunteers, and then they're given directly to DCFS, green for girl, blue for boy, and right size. Because my son, even though he was almost 2, he was in 3-month-old clothes. So you can't predict people's sizes or what they're going through. You can't change your origin. You either choose the light or the dark. And that's what we want these children to, in that moment in time that you can't take back, that they remember they are loved and they're supported. And this community has done that, and I want to thank them for it, and I want to thank y'all for having me and to highlight this issue.
Thank you, Casey.
Danny McCormick.
How y'all doing today? My name's Danny McCormick. I'm with Caddo Parish Alliance. As y'all, some of y'all may know, I was one of led some of the biggest opposition against the taxes y'all put on us.
Need your address again.
Yes.
7927 Mount Gilead Road, just like on the card. I'd like to start off by a quote from Thomas Paine. Government, even in its best state, is but a necessary evil. In its worst state, an intolerable one. And to us, y'all have become an intolerable one. That's why we voted no Saturday. One thing, I've heard y'all say that the voters were misled. I don't think so. I think they opened their eyes. The no vote Saturday is mostly a no vote and lack of confidence in the 12 of y'all. That is in y'all's policies. Property tax is a brutal tax. It takes your property and sells it at a public auction if you don't pay your tax. People that make their living with property in Caddo Parish suffer from the highest property taxes in Louisiana. You need to take more consideration of those people. You're not. Next thing. We were here at a meeting, I don't know, it's been a couple years ago. And a gentleman was up coming up here trying to get money from y'all, and he did, for an after-school tutoring program. One of y'all's biggest supporters in this property tax. I've seen him supporting y'all a lot. I had no idea at that time that y'all were going to give him $70,000 for an after-school program. I was completely astonished by that. Just myself, I see you give away hundreds of thousands of dollars into the community. Just give it away to people that come back later and support y'all. That's very discouraging when you're paying the highest property taxes in Louisiana. Next thing. The illegal retirement system that Caddo Parish, that y'all have allowed the people not to pay back is ridiculous. It shows the lack of confidence in y'all by not addressing the situation. You spend $150,000, you tell these people that all of these services are going to be lost, and you spend $150,000 of their tax dollars defending this illegal retirement system. Talk about the pet tax. It just shows how out in touch with reality you are, that you're in this poor, suffering community, that y'all think about taxing somebody's pet. I mean, I don't have anything to say about it, just out of touch with reality. And then I hear you're going to make it a voluntary tax. You're going to make it a voluntary law? Now in Caddo Parish, the Caddo Commission is making voluntary laws. That's beyond me too. The next thing that's important to understand is in Louisiana, we imprison more people in Louisiana than we do any other place in the world. One of your citizens is more likely to be imprisoned in this state.
Sir, your time is up.
I'll make a motion to extend
All right,
5 minutes.
Second.
You're more likely to be in prison in Louisiana.
That passes by. Mr. Bowman, I see you on the board.
No, I was on prior to.
We get the
Yo,
Acclamation.
Not now.
We gotta vote on this. Please vote on extension.
Hang on 1 second, I made a motion.
What, there was a motion to extend?
Yeah, I made it, I get to speak on my motion.
Well, there's no debate on the motion
Not
to
today.
extend. This is not an
I'm not
ordinance.
debating it, I'm just telling you.
There's no discussion on
Okay,
the
let's
motion
vote.
to extend. We vote. We either vote, it's an up or down vote. There's no discussion on it. You can vote to extend or not. That passes. Please continue.
Extend 3 more minutes. Extends to 3
Yes,
minutes.
3 more minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, this won't take long. In Louisiana, we imprison more of our citizens than any place in the world. That's ultimately sad. But let's tie that into the pet tax. You're going to make a tax and force another law down people's throat that they don't want. When you start using your power in this commission to make laws to force things on us, whether it be the middle class paying the taxes or the poor filling up the prisons, after a while there's like this past Saturday, we all stood up and voted no. 75% of what law enforcement does in this state is collect revenue for government. 25% of what they do is actually enforce laws. So 25% that they actually do, we used to call them peace officers, y'all call them law enforcement now. But anyhow, 25% of what they do, we really need them for. They protect us from the evil people in this world. 75% of 100% of what most people deal with, though, is the laws y'all pass forcing them on us when we don't want them. Nobody wants them. I don't want to pay the fines, and people don't want to put their kids in prison. All right, next thing. This is my final note. I know that y'all coming back at us with this property tax, and I know y'all gonna come back with a vengeance. I know y'all been told no, and I know the propaganda machines are working. We're kind of at a stalemate what to do here, because we know y'all gonna spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of our tax money to defeat us. This is one thing we're considering. We can use social media and we can inform the people that aren't happy with y'all. There's a possibility they may want to consider boycotting your businesses. They may want to boycott your customers and your businesses. Maybe you don't have business or customers. Maybe they should boycott your donors. There's all different kinds of ways for us to attack this thing. What I really like about this more than anything, though, is this brought all community, all together. One thing that we've all decided is we're dissatisfied with the government we're getting here. So, I guess that's about it. Thank you.
Jake Flukers.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Jake Lucas, 741 King Ridge Place, District 10, Commissioner Chavez. And I want to speak up on the adjudicated property. I was at a meeting they had and Civic Source, I guess the commissioner hired them to be responsible for selling the adjudicated property. I want to know what is the percentage of how much money this organization, Civic Source, is getting? What percentage? I want to know, I was also told at the meeting that the bid on the property was started at $5,250. Is that for all the property? And I also want to know is that I was told that the commissioners is, when you do sell a property, that the commissioner keep the mineral right. Now, what make the commissioner think they're mineral right keepers? We want to get I know the commissioners want to get the property back in tax form, and I'm pretty sure that the commissioners don't want to just keep mineral right. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flukas. Dr. Wilson, would y'all get with Mr. Flukas? We got his contact information and get together. Appreciate it. I have 3 here on the same issue, so we're going to use our 15-minute rule, or do we use 3 apiece? How are we going to do that?
What issue is it, sir?
The pet. They all say pet ordinance.
Well, when they speak under the public hearing.
There's not a public hearing on that today. We've already had a public hearing on the pet ordinance. So it would be under citizen comments.
Okay.
Citizen comment, 3 minutes each.
So
3 minutes
3
each.
minutes each? Okay, all right, appreciate it. Carol, and I apologize if I pronounced it wrong. Carol Michonne, okay, appreciate it, thank you.
Stop.
I want to thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you today. And before I do, I want to thank this gentleman for lending voice to the people. He's speaking for the people. We've been taxed enough already. And the governor's piled on the taxes now. You want to pile on the taxes also.
Can you give us your name and address for the record?
My name is Carol Michaud, M-I-C-H-A-U-D. I'm at 7046 Greenwood Road, Shreveport. What I've come to talk to you about is the proposed registration of stray dog, cats, any warm-blooded mammal, gerbils, any animal that can contract rabies is what the proposal is all about. So that's gerbils and ferrets and other animals besides cats and dogs. But Commissioner Middleton has informed me that y'all are going to put it on a voluntary basis. Like this gentleman, what is voluntary? Well, if there's no teeth of enforcement to it, I don't know what you're doing it for. But nonetheless, if you do it, I want to propose a way for this community to have an income stream from the cats and dogs that they collect up and put in a shelter and waiting to be euthanized. There are several other states all across this country who have implemented a program where they take in stray cats and dogs and they put them in with prisoners, and the prisoners train the dogs. They give them obedience training, and they also give them valuable training to be security dogs, sniffer dogs, CNI dogs, aid dogs, and this is a money-making opportunity for you people. If we take in those dogs, have the prisoners train them, care for them at minimum cost, and it's been demonstrated. I'd like for you to research this program over the internet. You can find it implemented in many states. But it's proven to be a win-win-win situation for the animals, the dogs, the cats, for the prisoners, and it certainly has saved the counties where it's been implemented a lot of money because they have the prisoners doing this. And I know you need a facility to do it with. I know there are many abandoned buildings around this community. There are abandoned schools. You can repurpose some of these buildings and have them turned into animal training shelters and train these animals, and they become highly valuable. A well-trained dog can sell for $1,000. And all these animals are neutered and spayed, and they are turned over to the public at a cost. They become valuable to say. I own 4 dogs, my wife and I, and we've rescued every one of them. They're all chipped, they're all healthy, and we take good care of them. But the parish ought to look into this program of having prisoners train dogs. I know Sheriff Prater, I understand, is in favor of this, and I think you ought to help him with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I assume with the hat that you're wearing, you are a member of our military services, so we appreciate you for your service to our country. Bubba Dunn. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize.
How y'all doing? My name's Bubba Dunn. I'm from Greenwood, Louisiana, 8195 Highway 79. Commissioner Johnson is my new commissioner. Glad to have him. He was a trainer at the training academy, and he carried out his responsibilities with integrity and all, and I'm certainly expecting him to do the same on this body. However, I'm up here about the dog deal. That's what got me up here. I talked to Commissioner Lynn last week, and after trying to get a couple more without any success, and he pretty well explained to me what was going to happen, and then Commissioner Middleton came up prior to the meeting on about it's going to be a voluntary deal on the pets. Now, I know they hadn't voted on it. I know it's not a done deal, and that's why I'm voting. I mean, that's why I'm up here speaking today. You look confused, I guess, because it's prior to the voting. But I had 35 years on the Shreveport Fire Department and retired, a lifelong cattle producer. I raised border collies, train them, and sell them. This is in direct conflict to my livelihood, which helps pay y'all's salaries and y'all's retirement, that I have a problem with. Y'all's pension. I know, well, y'all don't have it anymore. Well, that's news to me, and it's a good thing I asked about it, because I looked up what the circuit judge, the ruling on that, and y'all didn't have to pay it back. But I'm not going to talk much on the pet deal, because that seems to be a done deal. But I do have a problem on the tax renewal. Well, I kept hearing on the radio and TV that the voters must have been misinformed. We wasn't misinformed. If you go back to the Elio Motors deal and look up the minutes from the Elio Motors deal, Charles Grubb, y'all's attorney, sold it as we can run it through the Industrial Development Board, and there's another way to skin this cat, because he deemed it inappropriate for the parish to buy such a large tract of property. And with that, he said we can relieve ourselves of liability if we run it through the Industrial Development Board. That's a shell corporation, so to speak. In the early 80s, Dixie Ice and Cold Storage had an industrial accident, an explosion. Killed one fireman, maimed another. They go back and they sued Dixie Ice and Cold Storage. One of them's widow benefited from that. The other one got paid for his, injuries. But if the Caddo Parish Police Jury had bought Dixie Ice and Cold Storage, that wouldn't be a possibility, because a shell corporation, so to speak, would have been formed. And that's what I understand this Industrial Development Board served the purpose of.
Your time is expired.
Motion to extend.
Second.
Pardon me?
Motion to extend 3 more minutes.
Okay.
Have a second.
There's been a motion to extend that's been seconded, but with an objection, please vote on the motion to extend. That passes. Please.
So anyway, given the facts that I got on the internet, it was judgment. It was y'all's minutes from the original meeting when y'all had whether or not for the parish to allocate the funds to the development board. That was Mr. Grubb's recommendations. It would be inappropriate for the parish to interfere or to be part of a private corporation, but there's another way to skin this cat. We can put it through the Industrial Development Board, and it'll relieve us of any liability. And in that, he used the term fire explosion. Well, who's liable to get killed or environmental damage from a fire explosion? It's the taxpayers. Y'all are protecting yourselves from the taxpayers, relieving yourselves from any liability, in my view. And I go back to Dixie Ice and Cold Storage. There was environmental damage, and there was a death, and there was a fireman maimed. Now, y'all say y'all don't have a pension, or y'all didn't vote years back. I'm not saying y'all personally. Some of y'all did, and some of y'all are new. And I hadn't seen a lot change since the fall of 2015 when I was up here again, and I supported some of y'all. I supported you, even though you weren't in my district, and things hadn't changed a lot, and that's where the voters are coming from. It's on the website about the judge's decision that and it's supposed to go to appeals court. Now, you're saying that y'all don't have a pension. That's news to me because it's all on the news. So that's how I guess the public was misinformed by somebody. But, you know, that's why the tax renewal went down. And Mr. McCormick, I can assure you I'll be joining his alliance, Caddo Parish Alliance, because I'm dissatisfied. I pay an obscene amount of property tax, agriculture and residential. And I'm not being represented just like a whole lot of these people. And like I said, good luck, Chief Lewis, because I feel like your hands are full.
I'm encouraged, sir.
Sir?
I'm encouraged.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ronnie Ennis.
Ronnie Ennis, 8935 Meadow Creek Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71129. I'm here to speak about the fee that they're talking about putting on these animals that are through the rescue and the dog pound. I think that if they would take that and let the public that's willing to come to the dog pound to rescue a dog, I can see them charging for vaccination and being sure they're spayed. But other than that, it's just the taxpayers are already paying for the facility out there. And I think it's just overrated that you're going to put another tax on the people. And that's the reason last weekend they had 5 proposals that got voted down. The people are tired of being taxed. And you can call it a tax or a fee, whatever you want to. And the only other thing I would like to say is that the council needs to look at some of the perks that every department's getting, because at some point the taxpayers is going to be broke. There ain't going to be nobody but the people that work for the city or the state going to be governed, and that's all I have. Thank you for the time, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Mr. Ennis, Mayor, I missed it. Did you do his name? Did he
Yes, I got it.
Okay,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. All right, appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Ennis. All right, I have no more citizen comment.
I have no more cards either, sir.
Thank you.
This time we have no visitors. We move to
Y'all
adopt.
leaving? I'm sorry.
Move to adopt the regular session minutes from April 20th.
Move to approve.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Dominic. Please vote on adoption of the minutes. I was kind of hoping some folks would stay around so we can clear up some misinformation that's out there. Get your information from the source.
Always say grace is best revenge is your paper.
I understand, but I guess we live in this age of fake news and fake media.
That's okay. You rise above when they go low.
Right.
Hannah go get him.
Is everybody finished voting?
Mr. Bowman?
I hadn't done it.
Bowman.
I'm still in shot.
That passes unanimous.
Next, we move to communications and committee reports. Administration response to information requests from commissioners.
I don't have anything today, sir.
I'm glad today you didn't have that. This is not the day.
You don't have nothing to say.
He's speechless too.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
I didn't want to be the first one, though, but it is what it is. First of all, Lakeview Neighborhood Association will be having a meeting Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. One of the topics is Blanchard Utilities acquiring Lakeview water system. So the citizens that are in Lakeview, please come out and hear what I and the Mayor Blanchard have to say about this. Second thing I want to talk about is the tax renewals. I hate that the group that just left. We're looking at basically, we're one of the governing bodies of this particular area. And we have to assess taxes in order to get revenue to come in to do certain things. If you look at any local government, any state government, any national government, they're using taxes as a means of revenue. As far as the parish taxes, one of the downsides to that is that you have many different governmental agencies. One being our school board. And if you look at the millage of our school board, it's about 73 mills. And if you add up the mills for the parish, it's somewhere between 18.3 and 19. So the amount of money that you're paying for parish property tax is not always coming to us. It's going to the other governmental agencies as well. Total millage for parish-wide is about 131 mills. So we only get a fraction of that total millage. And for the things that we try to do, the part that really surprised me was on the parks and recreation piece of it. Now, most of the city, inside the city limits of Shreveport, voted for it. Then, when you go into the rural areas where the actual parks are, the people voted against it. That doesn't make any sense to me. You know, you saying, well, we enjoy the parks, we like this, but at the same time, you vote against it. It just didn't make sense. And I know I might be talking different from some of my colleagues, but we try to be very good stewards of the money of Caddo Parish. And some of the things we get stuck on really doesn't really hold much value, but some people want to make it high value and to make us look bad. When you talk about the retirement, and they're saying it's illegal retirement, but it's been through 2 court systems right now, and neither one said that it's illegal. Once they did make this decision, now the part was, well, you still need to pay the money back. Well, neither one of the judges said pay the money back. They basically rendered their decision and left it as it was. When you look at being hired in a new position, and you go in and get employed, you fill out paperwork with HR, and you have a choice of being in Social Security or being in the deferred compensation plan. And you look at the options of the two, you'll pick whichever one best suits you. In both circumstances, if you pay into Social Security, your employer also pays into Social Security. So even if everybody up here paid into Social Security, we'll still be using taxpayers' money to match what they're supposed to as the employer of paying us into Social Security. What's the difference? Tell me what's the difference? There isn't. Because you paying in Social Security, the employer will pay into Social Security. If you paid in the deferred compensation plan, the employer will pay into that deferred compensation plan. So I just asked, what's the difference? If you can tell me, let me know. The pet tax, which I guess that's the new name for it. There were some fees that was being considered. Not all commissioners agreed with that, but that's why we're gonna vote on it. That shouldn't have been a factor in the election, but it was. We have no pension, never did. And I just want the citizens to be truly informed on what we do, as well as what the other local government agencies do, and not just some rhetoric that some people come up with to make us look bad because they just don't like what we do. And that's all I got to say for that. Yeah.
Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
Yes, I was curious about one thing. We did, and this is for legal or administration, we did initiate the ordinances for animal services to take effect in January of this year.
Correct.
With that, we gave veterinarians permission to do a 3 years rabies shot.
I don't think there was a permission given under the ord, I mean, because we didn't have to give a permission. What you did was you stated in that particular ordinance that if someone had a 3-year shot, it would be honored.
Okay. Will you or Dr. Wilson, will you get with Crystal Grinley so that she can reach out to the veterinarians so that they know what is legal and what is not legal? Because it's an option for them as well, and I don't think a lot of them know about it. Also, Dixie Gardens will be having a cleanup this weekend on Saturday, and the last 6 years that we have done that, we have filled up, I want to say, 6 flatbeds, dumpsters of recyclables, tires, as well as trash. And so we encourage everybody in Dixie Garden to come and drop off anything that you want to clean out of your house. I think that we have a few other adjoining neighborhoods that take advantage of it, and of course that is also welcome. And I'm very appreciative to Solid Waste and Melissa and everything that happens underneath Robert Glass and Dr. Wilson's purview as far as the way that Dixie Garden is treated and that trash pickup. Thank you very much. That's everything.
That it? That's all. Vice President Dunn.
The Juvenile Justice Committee meeting will be May 15th, so I know Commissioner Middleton is going to be out of town, so it'll be the 2:30 right before our next workshop. So that's the first thing. Here, yeah, right there. The next thing I wanted to say, I really wasn't going to talk about the tax renewals, but I'm going to talk about it at this point. We had enough people that
I'm sorry.
I'm waiting for everybody to get off it. But, you know, the way I saw it was several different things that, you know, why that failed. I think number one was the dog tax, pet registration fee, whatever you want to call it, upset a tremendous amount of people. You cannot imagine the emails, the social media, and I had to tell them I was not going to vote for that, but, you know, it had a negative impact, whatever you say. North Caddo Parish overwhelmingly voted no on that. I took away another thing that, you know, the people were saying that we needed to use our funds and our money in a much better way. And I'm not going to get into the argument about our retirement and those things. I'm just going to say that trying to keep it simple, that the people spoke and said that we need to use our money better and try to be more efficient and effective in all things that we do. And obviously, the issue of the people do not want multiple propositions. I think even if you looked at the votes, the one that failed by 15 or 16 votes was the one that was fixing to expire. The most recent, if I'm correct, Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
The other ones were to expire later down the road, and I know that our understanding was that it was trying to save money, but if we ever do this again, we need to go out with one proposition and say this is, if I'm gone and not here, and that's another thing, I'm term limited out. People talked about having term limits. We do have term limits. I won't be here next time because you don't have to worry about that because I am term limited out. But There was the issue about multiple things being on the ballot. I haven't really spoken to anybody about putting this on the ballot. My position is that we need to sit back, and I haven't talked to you about this. I wanted to, but I was busy today. But we need to sit down and just look at all of our issues, all of our options, taking into account that we need to use our money better, efficiently, more wisely. If we can do that, we can do that. We need to do that. We always need to have room for improvement. So those are the main things that I took from the election. So hopefully that we can work to make our parish, I always said, a better place to live, work, and raise our family. I do think that I'd like to meet with you and Crystal. I think we need to do something to try to better, tell people what the parish does. Every time I did run and knocked on someone's door, they say, "What does the parish do? What does the parish do?" They never really know. It's a big negative.
We said this before.
Anyway, I think I said enough for today, or at least on this issue, and I'll turn it over back to you, Mr. President.
Everybody's talking too much.
Commissioner Act.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's important that we rectify some misunderstandings here. One of our previous speakers spoke to the fact that we receive pension benefits. To Commissioner Johnson's earlier point, we do not receive commission benefits. There were retirement benefits that were part of the commission package prior to the last election. Through the leadership of Commissioner Jackson and others, those retirement benefits were terminated at the vote of the majority of the commissioners. So commissioners no longer receive retirement benefits at the vote of the majority of the commissioners. Now, that being said, there is some balances that are in place with commissioners who were in their seat prior to that change, and some people felt like we should somehow force those balances to be returned to the parish. I always personally viewed that as a legal issue, and we left it to the courts to decide, and the court has ruled on that. Secondly, when the new commission was seated this past year, we did away with the automatic cost of living adjustments. So those were voted down at the will of the majority of the seated commissioners. So that change has been made. There were also dramatic changes made to the travel policy. So some people implied that there's been no changes made to the commission since this new commission has been seated. And I'm not trying to disparage pre-existing commissioners as well, but I just want to be clear that significant changes have been made to the way the commission operates. That being said, there's always room for improvement. I'm sure that there are other opportunities that we need to work on, and I'm happy to listen. We're all happy to listen to what those improvements might be. But I just want to be clear as to what changes have been made. With respect to the parish as a whole, I believe the parish is fairly well run. I think Dr. Wilson and his team do a fine job. There's always room for improvement. There are areas that I'm sure we could trim costs, and we'll have to look at a lot of those with the recent decline in our millages. But generally, I think the parish is well run, and I have an experience with a number of operating entities, so I have entities that I can compare the parish to. Again, there's always room for improvement, but in general, I think Dr. Wilson and his team do a good job, and I'd like to show my support for that, Dr. Wilson. Thank you all. Thank you.
Nobody can clap. Y'all
They
something
left.
else.
They
We
left.
speak when we want to speak.
Commissioner Caddo, clapping corner left.
All right.
Very briefly, this weekend, March 6th, on Saturday, the Cedar Grove community will be doing a community-wide cleanup. They're going to meet at A.B. Palmer Park at 8 o'clock is where the people are going to gather, and they're going to disperse from there. So, there's silos of things happening in the community. We want to keep people updated. The second thing I want to briefly mention, I almost echo some of the sentiments of Commissioner Atkins. Like I said on Monday in the work session, that we tend in this local community to do a lot of talking at one another instead of talking to one another. Everybody in Caddo Parish are not going to always be on the same page. We can agree to disagree. We don't necessarily have to be disagreeable. What I would like to see, and would have liked to have seen in this election, was a town hall meeting that encompasses all 12 commissioners. See, from time to time, you have to sit in the room with people you disagree with. But sometime in that discourse and sometime in that exchange, you learn stuff that you didn't know pro and con. And so I like to think that some of the issues that face us, whether they are not rightly thrust upon us or not, I just think that a dialogue across lines of people that disagree with one another is much needed in the local Caddo Parish, and I think a lot can be garnered from such. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watt.
Thank you, sir. First of all, in response to some of the comments that were made here earlier today, I would like to make sure that the facts are actually the facts. There were some alternative facts that we've heard today, beginning with the pet tax. We need to set the record extremely clear that there was not a pet tax on that ballot. That is something that should not be addressed, and as commissioners, it's our duty to make sure that we're getting the right message across. There was never a pet tax included on your ballot. With that being said, there was only about 13,000 people who actually got out to vote. I represent 13,000 people. So there were not even enough of us, 12 of us up here, there was not even enough to say that somebody actually voted from your own district. When I went to vote at 1 o'clock, only 12 people had been to that precinct.
15.
So when we're speaking, we need to say that we're speaking on our own cognizance, not on behalf of the people. With that being said, you voted against the people, citizens just like yourselves. Parks and recreations, those are employees. They are citizens that happens to be employed by the parish of Caddo. You voted against that, as it was stated earlier, of something that you enjoy. So you're voting against your own selves in that manner. When you voted against juvenile services, we just awarded Clay on Monday for having phenomenal services at an organization such as Juvenile Services.
That's true.
So we have to think beyond what we hear or someone says on Facebook to stroke our egos in the wrong manner and not knowing the full details of things. It's always a public and open meeting to be able to come and to voice your opinions on anything. But it needs to be understood that this vote was not about these commissioners around this horseshoe, about our salaries. And I even read that we were fattening our pockets, not with this money. I know I can speak and say not that. But I do take a salary because my Bible tells me what man goes to war and pays his own costs. I will not work for free. I wasn't asked to come here to work for free. I will take that severance and purchase the gas and stay looking decent so that I can better serve the citizens of this parish. And I do it with great joy. And my phone is always on. And my phone bill is not paid by the parish of Caddo. With that being said, I think that we should reevaluate, and I will reiterate that over and over again, what was on the ballot. It was not us, and it was not the pets. Thank you.
That was good. I'm the Long Ranger.
Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Well, guys, Mr. Atkins pretty much said what I wanted to say as far as the new guys and the ones that made it through the fire. We've done the best that we can to fix the identity of the Caddo Parish Commission. I know before the four of us new guys came, it was a lot different, but things have definitely changed. And he mentioned all the things that has been changed. So for the people that thought that nothing has happened, a lot has happened. I own a business, and I've ran my own business for 10 years, so I know what it looks like behind the scenes. Woody and his team, they do a good job. They are efficient. He is right. There's always room for improvement. You better believe that after what happened last weekend, we're going to be in the office sitting down looking over the numbers to see what can we do to be more efficient. Stormy is right. I called down to the clerk of court's office to find out for my district how the vote went, and I wanted to get statistics to see what my people wanted. And the lady told me that, answered the phone, she couldn't give me a number of how many people called down to the clerk of court's office asking, was it the pet vote? She said that. So for the citizens to say that there wasn't misinformation, There absolutely was. If the clerk of court's office stated people called her, asking her, are we voting on a pet tax? And they had to correct it from the clerk of court's office. So obviously, guys, communication is the key. We did a horrible job at communicating what these millages were, what they were paying for, and a lot of people weren't listening because somebody else's personal agenda was louder. So obviously, we need to fix that next time. I tried. I did the best I could. I put out a video myself, and I said, listen, guys, I'm not telling you guys how to vote, yes or no. I just want the public to know what these millages were, what they paid for, and if you personally want this in your parish, then vote for it. I was shocked that people, what I looked at when they said it was a win or a loss, it wasn't a loss. It was people telling me that they don't want parks. That's fine. If you guys don't want the parish paying for parks and services, okay, we hear you. But I have a feeling that that wasn't the intent of the vote. So I hope we have a better way of communicating what the millages actually are next time. And the intent of me going down to the clerk of court's office to find out what my citizens voted on was because I'm not going to vote to put those millages back on there. Not unless my people tell me that that's what they want. But if I get a majority that said no, and what I hear is they don't want these services, well, they already spoke for me and I represent them. So, that's all I got to say. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn.
In all honesty and to lighten the mood, Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, you look much better than decent. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Not for that.
Still don't want to
Oh, good job. Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
I think that we, the 12 of us, have an obligation. If we allow the administrator to put a tax on the ballot, that we should vet it as much as possible and agree to it, and then pursue it when it goes to the ballot. To sit here and say, well, you know, don't know about this, don't know about that, we're impacting the staff of the people that work for the administrator lives by saying whether we're going to support some or not. The time to doubt if you're going to support it or not is before it goes to the ballot and not while it's at the ballot.
Yeah.
And when it's at the ballot, we should be 100% on favor of what is there at the polls. That's my opinion about that. Now, if the people, if you look at the chain, the people voted us in to represent them. We appoint the administrator, he then appoints and hires his staff. So based upon the information that he gives us prior to it goes to the ballot, we should then vet it as much as possible to say how we can support it. And then once it goes to the ballot, support it 100%. And not sit here and say, well, I tried to do this, I tried to do that. We should be 100% behind it. You know, I had 2 town hall meetings to make sure that people were quite aware of what was going on. I had meetings with the neighborhood associations to make sure that people knew what was going on. They can't go out and publicly say they support it, but you know they automatically support it because it's out there on the ballot. We can go out and say that we support it or not. When people ask us, we can say we support this or we don't support it. But if you don't support it, you should not support it before it goes to the ballot. And then put in all the things that you want to try to put in before it goes to the ballot. And once it goes to the ballot, now, because of the majority, you should support it. Because it's impacting not only him, but all the staff, the employees, and everybody else. So that's all I got to say on that. Thanks.
All right.
I have a change of heart and mind, sir.
Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, thank you, sir, Commissioner Jackson. Certainly, let me say from the administrative perspective, the administrative staff, we have to walk a fine line, and we can only deal with truthful, factual information. We cannot use parish funds to encourage people to vote one way or the other. We can only put out information that reflects the issue at hand. I certainly hope that the chamber, they're talking about fact-checking this idea that we are the highest tax-paid parish in the state. I don't believe that. No. I think the chamber is going to embark on a project to go out and hire some researchers to validate that one way or the other. But I think we have to fact-check that, but that's not the case. not in our limited research. We are not the highest paid taxing parish in the state of Louisiana. We're not. But that's the mantra. Another thing too, that citizens were told that we have a big reserve fund balance. Well, we have $121 million across 19 funds. Most of the money are dedicated and restricted to use. We can't change the use of the money from one account to the other. We have to use the way we voted on at the ballot box.
But you tried to do that in number 5, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Which would have been a good thing, because for that, I will get into long and on that one.
All right.
But anyway, the fact of the matter is, in 2004, we were criticized for not doing a good job managing finances and laid off 19 people because we had a financial crisis down here that we couldn't overcome. With the blessing of the Haynesville Shell came in 2007, and the man from heaven came, and we were able to get some low-hanging fruit revenue from that made us whole. And then we decided to not spend any money from 2007 to 2010, created an oil and gas trust fund, put the money in trust. And we also talked about having a contingency fund, which is our reserve trust fund, in case of catastrophic event, we'd be able to recover, reconstitute government. That's a good thing, having a reserve fund balance. Without a reserve fund balance, you cannot run government. You can't get a decent credit rating to go out and do bonding issue. And then because of our credit rating, the library board went out and did a major project, $10 million, and they took advantage of the rating that we got. So having adequate reserve is a good thing, it's not a bad thing. And I think we make most efficient use of the money, and I'm not being biased in that point of view, because we recommend to you all, and you all decide what the final numbers are. And I think you all have good business head on you all that there's no waste in what we do. There's opportunities to streamline and tighten our belt, yes. But I think for the next 4 years, because the Saturday event was not successful, in 2018, Parks Millage expires. We have to ask that question again. In 2019, you have another expiration coming up in 2020. You get to vote on 2019. In 2020, there's another issue you got to vote for 2021. In 2022, the Public Works Fund renewals up. So for the next 4 years, you can vote on something for the next, if you only have one item.
We spend more then than we did.
So we thought that we would streamline these things because the new renewals does not take place until the old ones expire. We thought that was good. That would save the people money. That's what the whole idea was. And this thing about the pet situation, it was never meant to be a moneymaker or a tax. We want a process so we can identify stray animals and get them back to their rightful owners. Put a tag on the animal. If you love the animal enough, put a tag on it. So we can drop it off to your house on the way back to the shelter. That was the whole idea behind that. Not to raise no money.
Do you euthanize it if you can't get it back to the owner?
Yes, sir.
So that would probably...
with all possible, we try to find an adoptable situation. But sometimes it doesn't always work out because we get 15,000 calls a year in our animal services. We have about 200 animals in one given day at the shelter. It's a community problem, not a Caddo Parish Commission problem, a community problem. But the community has to step up to the plate and say, let's do what makes sense. You know? Anyway, that's enough of my preaching, but thank you for indulging me in my comments today.
Thank you. Commissioner Bowe.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to be brief in saying, as I said before, the biggest room, of course, is the biggest room for improvement. So we all can improve in different areas. However, we also, moving forward, I just hope all of these critiques are followed up upon, because what's so amazing to me is the fact I hear all these great ideas and people saying what we shouldn't have done, but prior to this happening, nobody was opening their mouth and saying anything. But today, we did this and we didn't do that, but you weren't saying that before. So it's like internal Judas or something. You say you here for this, and then you come back and say, well, I never was for it anyway. Well, that doesn't make sense. But okay, that's my stance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just be upfront. What you're for, you're for. If you're against it, you're against it. Stop.
Appreciate it, sir. That's it.
Next, we have President's Report.
Cherokee Park Elementary School, Cherokee Park, and Highland Park community will be hosting a meeting tonight. Issues ranging from crime and violence to neighborhood awareness and community awareness on things. That will start at 6 p.m. At Cherokee Park Elementary School, 2000 East Algonquin Trail. Please, if anyone can attend very active groups over there. I will address a little bit of the comments that were made during citizens' comments, since we don't get a chance to indulge, and now I see why it's set up that way, because you could easily end up with a shouting match. But one of the comments, and I think I brought it to your attention last week, that I saw the video and I thought I was hearing something wrong when I heard the video that said the parish wants to raise your taxes so that they can come take your house in an adjudicated property sale. How do we benefit from having a bunch of adjudicated property in the parish?
We don't.
But that means taxes are not being paid at all.
We lose on that.
So we lose. Okay.
The entire community loses. This is not just Caddo Parish Commission. Every taxing entity loses on that.
Gotcha. And so we would just blow up the system just to raise the taxes, I guess. That's the kind of information that was going out to people. And when I say folks were misinformed, that's what I mean. That is a misstatement. That is simply not true. These were just reassessing what was already assessed. But there was literally a big, and I downloaded it. So if they go take it down this evening, it's already downloaded and saved. But we've got to get to a point to where we're willing to sit down, as Commissioner Cawthorn said, and listen to each other. Because folks took the time to come down to say their piece, but walk smooth on out the door and don't want to hear the rest of it. What kind of sense does that make? And everything everybody around here has said today, other than a few, is going to be twisted, turned into something else by midnight tonight, and it'll be up tomorrow. And everything we would have said would have been totally taken out of context. But it is what it is. When we talk about not only these elections, but just in general, because I was down in Baton Rouge and listening to some of the stuff going on down there, you can approach this particular situation with what Dr. King said in several of his speeches with three attitudes. One is the attitude of extreme optimism. We're all down here doing great. Nothing is wrong. This is a copious utopia. And let's just go on by our merry way. The other one is the attitude of extreme pessimism. Nothing has changed since the election. Y'all are all bad people. You're padding your pockets. You got a pension. You don't need to be paid for your services. But I'm more interested in the attitude of the realists. There's always room for growth. How can we do better with what we're doing? Nobody down here has said this is a perfect body. No government body is perfect. No institution is perfect. But we're trying our best to do what we can do. I broke my car running around this parish, running to meetings on these streets around here. I broke my car. Tore it up. I didn't send the parish a bill. I didn't come whining to y'all. I didn't go lash out at my constituents. I went and got another one because this is what I signed up to do. But to insist that we come down here, give a service, and the good that we do, everybody turns a blind eye to it. But the one thing that we may consider to do something about, everybody gets in an uproar about. Don't say you voted against the mill just because that was a proposed pet registration fee. Just say you was gonna vote for it already. You was gonna vote against it already. And this helped you. This is your alibi. This is the excuse that you have now to vote for it. You were gonna vote against it already. Or you weren't gonna vote at all. It was one or the other. Don't use that as an excuse. And on this pet registration issue, I encourage commissioners, when you're out talking to people, please stop with the definitive, we gonna do this. This is what we go. And I know it happens because I've seen it happen. You have one vote. One vote. And I tell people all the time, I can only cast my vote for me. I can't speak for the other 11. But I know that it happens because I've been in the room and seen it happen. And we tell folks, this is how it's gonna go. Or if you do this, this is how it'll work, and I'll go get the vote. We hadn't voted on anything. And to say that we're just gonna tax every single pet, we don't have time to sit here and worry about a snake, a gerbil, a goldfish. We got other issues to deal with. And so I don't know where this rhetoric comes from, and that's why I'm always, when I see the news put out some misinformation or something that's not totally accurate, that's why I'm quick. And Crystal will tell you, Dr. Wilson will tell you, I call them or I email them. You need to fix this because you have an obligation to inform the public. Because then these blogs start to influence people's personalities. And we're not asking you to sugarcoat the situation about us. We're simply saying put out factual information and don't always put out the bad. But the pet registration fee is what gets the most clicks or the most views. And so that's what we're gonna run with. Never mind the fact that Bossier just introduced a fee to buy tickets at the Central Joint Center. But nobody is upset and up in arms about that. No front page stories about that. Cover stories about that. I don't understand why it seems like we're willing to burn the living room down because we don't like the kitchen. I don't get that. And so I'm just gonna encourage everybody to, let's do more listening. Let's search ourselves. Let's look at what we need to go back and revisit and continue to get better at. But I'm not down here for my self-interest. I'm down here because when people stop me in the grocery store, at church, wherever I'm at, they want to see and they want to know that their government hears them and is doing better. And they want to know that either their children or they have a future here in Shreveport and Caddo Parish. I texted somebody earlier today and he told me, he lives in Dallas, he said, it's much better to be from Shreveport than to live in Shreveport. And that's what he said. I find it much better to be from Shreveport than to live in Shreveport. And that's the mentality people leave here with. And we all have a collective obligation to make this a better place. Right. There's no single solution. No one raindrop wants to be blamed for the flood. But when everything's going right, everybody wants the credit. So we all gotta look at what can we do to make this place a better place. And that doesn't mean coming up with these extremist ideas that's gonna get us there. That doesn't solve anything. We gotta find somewhere to meet in the middle. And that's my prayer. That's my hope. I'm glad we had the prayer session earlier because it's almost been hard for me to sit through some of it. I usually enjoy the citizens' comments. But we just can't have that kind of vitriol and just lying. And I know somebody gonna call me out about it. But that was a lie to put that out there like that. And somebody said that we got too much reserve. Well, what we gonna do? Do what the state of Louisiana did? Spend all our reserve and then wait till we got nothing and then come back here and lay folks off every year? Budget deficits every year? Can't pay for basic services? Isn't that what the state is going through now? But didn't in 2007, they had a surplus. But all in the name of, we gonna do this, we gonna reduce taxes. All in the name of we gonna reduce taxes. And now they can't even pay basic essential services. So that's my spiel on it. You know, I sat through everybody else's.
Okay.
You know, I'm, like Roland Martin said, I guess I got a spirit of discomfort, but I'm okay. 'Cause, you know, sometimes it's just got to be said. And
Look at Steve coming through.
it is what it is. But, you know, next.
Next, we move to public hearing on zoning ordinances and cases. Ordinance number 5686 of 2017 in regards to zoning case P1617, applicant Rayleigh and Associates, amending zoning of property located on the south side of Southern Loop from RA Residential Agriculture District to B2 Neighborhood Business District for 36.363 acres and B2E Neighborhood Business Extended Use District limited to a climate control warehouse on 3.697 acres only.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance 5686 of 2017? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition of ordinance 5686 of 2017? There are no.
Closes that. We move to ordinance number 5687 in regards to zoning case P717, applicant Rayleigh and Associates, amending zoning property located on the south side of Southern Loop from RA Residential Agriculture District to B2 Neighborhood Business District.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance 5687 of 2018? Is there anyone here of 2017? I'm sorry. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to ordinance 5687 of 2017? I see none.
Ordinance number 5688 of 2017 in regards to zoning case P817, applicant Baylor and Associates, amending the zoning of property located on the north side of Elby Road from R1D Urban One Family Residential District to B1 Buffer Business District with use of approval to permit a medical facility.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance 5688 of 2017? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to ordinance 5688 of 2017? I see nobody.
That closes zoning ordinances for public hearing. We move to public hearing on regular ordinances. Ordinance number 5689, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the capital outlay fund and the health tax fund in the amount of $25,000 to provide an appropriation to purchase additional cameras for the animal shelter.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance 5689 of 2017? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to ordinance 5689 of 2017? I see no one. That vote closes up.
Ordinance number 5690 of 2017, ordinance to close and abandon a portion of the dedication for Nicole Drive located in Turner Moore Cove subdivision in the parish of Caddo.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance 5690 of 2017? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition of ordinance 5690 of 2017? I see no one.
This time that closes public hearing on ordinances. We move to zoning ordinance for final passage. Commissioners, I will read just the ordinance number on these. Ordinance number 5680.
You can take your time because I went to the gym this morning, so I don't have a rush to get out anymore.
Ordinance number 5686 in regards
So moved.
to P617.
Moved by Commissioner Atkins, second by Commissioner Bowman. Do you want to speak?
There's been, it's good for the district. There's been no one opposed, so I'd say let's move forward with it.
Commissioner Bowman.
That's the same.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
I'd like to make a motion to englobo ordinance 5687, 5680.
Second.
687 and 5688 to englobo and to adopt.
Second.
That was moved by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, second by Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
That was what I was gonna do.
Second by Commissioner Matthew Lynn. Any questions on the englobo and adoption? Seeing no questions, please vote to englobo and adopt.
Look at Jesus. He
That
always show up.
passes 10-0.
Next, we move to ordinance for final passage. Ordinance number 5685 to amend and reenact Chapter 8 entitled Animals and Fowl of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo.
Move to adopt.
That dies for lack of second. Next.
Okay, next we move to ordinance number 5689, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the capital outlay fund and the health tax fund in the amount of $25,000 to provide an appropriation to purchase additional cameras for the animal shelter.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Bowman. I see you on the board. Are you on the board for your motion?
No, that was for the previous.
All right, please vote.
Ordinance number 5690, ordinance to close and abandon a portion of dedication for Nicole Drive.
Moved by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, second by Commissioner Gage Watts. I need to clear him over there. I'm sorry. You're not on the board.
Yeah, I'm not on the board.
All right, please vote. Nicole Drive.
Yeah, the camera's for it. We passed it.
Cameras passed.
Yeah.
I talked to my, I told him it failed. Thank you.
5690.
What number?
5690.
That passes. Next, we move to zoning case appeal, introduction by title. Zoning case appeal, BAP 1517-74006 Barrios Drive. See, applicant Daphne Elaine Williams and Katrina Rochelle Williams. Appellant, this is not, this is just introduction. Appellant's Willie Henderson Jr. That'll move and be advertised, and it'll be at our next meeting. Next, we move to ordinances for introduction by title. Ordinance number 5678, ordinance number 5678 to authorize the parish administrator or designee to lease certain residential property at Fort Wache.
Move to adopt.
Fort Wache.
He's just reading.
Oh, that's another.
He's just reading them by title, y'all.
Yeah. Make sure we got everything here.
He's on ordinance by title.
Okay, ordinance number 5691, authorize introduction of ordinance number 5691, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the solid waste disposal fund and the public works fund for the year 2017.
Can you tell me
Ordinance.
what number is this Roman numeral?
16-2.
You left out, we moved fair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I think, let me just give some clarification. The animal ordinance, failed for lack of a second. It got a motion but did not get a second.
Okay.
And so we are on 16-2, 5691, and he's only reading by title right now, so there's no motion needed. Is everybody caught up?
Yeah.
I know that.
Ordinance 5693, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parish's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties. Ordinance number 5694, to close and abandon certain alley and a portion of the street dedication located in Forbing Factory Subdivision. This time we need to ratify our work session minutes.
Moved by Commissioner Gage Watt, second by Commissioner Matthew Lynn. Please vote.
Next, we move to resolutions. Resolution number 40, authorizing the parish administrator to request administrative consultant proposals.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Bowman.
I see your Lyndon. That'd be funny. I'll be reading.
I think that they explained this the other day. I don't have any more questions. I'm good to go.
Commissioner Bowman?
No, sir.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Make a motion to englobo and to adopt resolution 40 and 41.
Second.
Second. You want to speak, Commissioner Lynn?
I do want to speak. I have one question in relation to Resolution 40. Dr. Wilson, after watching the Industrial Development Board meeting the other day, they were discussing hiring an outside service to monitor the industrial realty group. And I want to make sure that this in no way, shape, or form has anything to do with any of that.
No, sir, it doesn't.
That's all. That's my question. Thank you.
All right, please vote on the Englobo to adopt.
Yes, sir. We missing?
That passes 12-0.
Resolution number 42, amending the resolution number 18 of 2017 relative to the Caddo Parish Task Force on Higher Education to change the membership of the task force, to rename the task force, to change the scope of the task force.
So moved.
I have an amendment to, I'd like to amend it to add Centenary College to the task force.
Oh, yeah.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Lynn to add Centenary College to the task force. Please vote on that amendment. I'm sorry, Commissioner Milton, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we change it as far as the author of the legislation as ex officio. That should be as appointed by the sitting president each year. Otherwise, I think we just have perpetuity as somebody serving on that position. Not to say that you, Mr. Jackson, would not be appropriate at this time, but I'd just like to make that motion to change it that as appointed like any other committee, appointed by the sitting president.
Well, that's not sure how that works, because I got a motion and amendment on the floor, so will we have to adopt the amendment first, and then we adopt that amendment first, then come back to you?
You start with the last one first.
Your last amendment.
Well,
sir.
never mind.
So we
That didn't get a second, so it died.
I thought they was waiting on clarity before.
Okay,
you
I'm
said
sorry.
it.
So,
You start with the second one first, and then you'll go back to the.
so you're gonna vote on the First Amendment first?
I second.
Okay, so I got you. So we're gonna vote on the First Amendment first.
Oh, you vote on the second amendment.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Well, it's not a substitute motion, he just has another
Separate
amendment.
motion to the same piece of legislation.
Second amendment.
We vote on the Second Amendment. Well, go ahead, Commissioner Down.
Could build the fish.
So Commissioner Middleton has a motion amendment to, I'm gonna have to look at this real quick. I don't know where it says that anyway. Can you show me where you're at?
Right here.
First, therefore.
Now, that was,
Last sentence.
Okay, so an author of legislation as ex officio. You want to change it to the president of the commission and or his designee, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You have a problem with that? I'd like to hear your explanation if we get a chance. Because if it was the president, so you'd be in there now, or your designee.
Now you get to
I
see.
guess you want to
So
be.
you're directing comments to.
I'm
Okay.
directing to you.
I'm gonna direct, I'd like to get his explanation for why he doesn't want the author of the legislation.
Well, he asked to direct it to him.
Okay.
Since you got
I already said it, didn't I just say that?
I think Commissioner Middleton is concerned about, you'd be on this year, but the president,
Right, and what if you, Stephen, you go something else, House of Representatives, something like that, then it leaves that a void spot
Well,
as far as we go, so always be a dynamic update as needed.
Well, the task force is only for a year.
Oh, well,
This is not a perpetuity deal.
Okay, where does it say it's just for a year?
Because they make a report in that's in resolution 18, but the task force is only established for a year. This is not to be a sitting task force or standing committee of the commission. This is a special task force looking at higher education. And they have a year's worth of work. We gave them a year to give a report to the commission. That's all the task force is.
You gotta be president.
Is it stated in here it's just for a year?
It's not, because this is not resolution 18.
it says to take immediate.
If it's just, where's resolution 18? Do we have that here?
No, we've already adopted resolution.
Is this here? Is this series?
Ms. Frazier, are you checking on something for us?
I'm checking to see if I can pull up a copy of Resolution 18 right now from a previous set of minutes. I think Todd did go to get a hard copy.
Be it therefore resolved that the task force is purged to make a preliminary report no later than November 2nd, 2017 to the Caddo Parish Commission and all stakeholders. They're supposed to be okay. Scope of the task force.
Okay, I have 18, sir.
Thanks, guys.
The old issue, the same.
To explore the need for recommendations to higher education management boards, Louisiana Board of Regents, local state legislative delegation to support and author before the start of the 2018 regular session of the legislature.
Go down to the other, be it to the first, to the second, be it further resolved.
We told you.
Be it further resolved, the task force is encouraged to make preliminary report no later than November 2nd, 2017, the Caddo Parish Commission and all other stakeholders.
Withdraw the amendment.
Thank you. See, Commissioner Atkins, well, you were on the amendment, Commissioner Atkins?
I withdraw, we're good.
All right, you can clear me out.
So now we're voting just on the amendment, sir?
But we're voting on my amendment to add
Correct.
secondary to the task force.
Add secondary to the task force.
That passes unanimously. Now we need to vote on adopted as amended.
As amended.
The resolution is second.
Point
Yes.
of personal privilege.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I just want to, in full disclosure, I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of Centenary College, so I don't know if that makes any difference at all, but I wanted it to be out and on the open.
I'll let you have it.
Okay.
Conflict. Appreciate it. Sure, the attorney will let you know if you have one.
It doesn't have any monetary contract tied to it.
Hey, Marquez.
That passes unanimous.
All right, next we move to resolution number 43, expressing support for Senate Bill 64 and urging and requesting adoption of Senate Bill 64.
Move to approve.
Second.
That was moved by Commissioner McEwen, second by Commissioner Middleton. You want to speak on that?
I would like to speak on it. I presented everybody with a letter of request that we endorse this by Senator Gaddy. And in conversations with Caddo Parish Legal, they had said that, and legal, please correct me if I'm wrong, that this in no way, shape, or form affects Caddo Parish because we do not oversee shelters or rescue centers. And my response to that is it to me, I feel like there's pushback from them to not vote for this. And I ask that this is a question, if this does not affect us and a senator is asking us to help prop them up, why would we not? Why would we not support this?
Commissioner Lynn, I do not recall any communication with you or anybody else asking you not to support it.
Okay.
So I don't know why you would.
Okay, thank you. That's it. So anyway, with that, I ask everybody to please support this. Thank you.
Commissioner Who can make this? Commissioner Middleton, do you have anything on your second?
Nothing to add, thank you, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Childs.
Thank you, President. I don't know if this would be a friendly amendment, but I appreciate the senator's bill. The only thing I don't like is the 72-hour hold, or the minimum 72 hours. And I don't know if an amendment to suggest a change on this, because it's not actually hours, but I would recommend at least a 5-day hold, a 5 business day hold, in case somebody is out on vacation, that they don't come home to their dog being euthanized. That if they leave on the weekend and the dog gets out, that by the time they're able to come home next weekend, that their dog will be held for them. So I don't know how we need to get that information to the senator, but that's
a minimum.
Right, I'd like it to be at least 5 days. I know Chuck knows how I feel about that. So that would be the only thing.
Well, not maximum, but
Other than that, that's it, guys.
All right. Commissioner Dominic.
Yeah, I was just, it's a little bit confusing, and I think, Commissioner Atkins and I always kind of get into the same issue, that this is something before the legislators, and I both know will not necessarily mean that I'm for it or against it. Just, I think this is something that the legislators should do and decide. They're the ones that's hearing all this. We're hearing whether 72 or 5 days, et cetera, so probably be other than that.
Commissioner Middleton.
Yeah, I just like to put out there, I think 3 days plus the two, they don't count the holidays or the weekends on that. If you go to 5 days, what it's going to do is extend the time before the adopting concerned folks, pause for life, et cetera, before they can get to that puppy too, to the dog or cat, whatever. So if we keep it 3 days, it allows them to be adopted a lot sooner than we move it to 5 days. And it is a big fiscal concern for us too, and we're going to be able to put all those animals. I think that's where it's going to some pushback. So I couldn't support it on the 5 days. The 3 days I could support it. That's where we are right now. And yeah, we're going to get it wrong sometimes, unfortunately. But if that had a tag on it, maybe we'd be there. So that's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Linda Johnson, first time. I think you called for it on the second time, right? Well, I had a question too, because I don't press it, but I do have a question before it. But you second, so it's been motion and second. I do have a question that I want to ask.
You can.
So I guess I'm taking a personal privilege.
do that on call for the question.
Yes, I can.
No, that's the only one you can't press.
That's the only one.
You can't press. That's the only one.
Parliamentarian discretion.
If you've been on the board, then.
Well, I usually don't press to get in, but
Press this time.
I'm sorry.
Let's call for the question.
Question has been called. Please call for the question.
Robert's rules.
Just for the record, I don't press the button to get in. So, that passes 7-4 to call for the question. Question is next.
Now we vote on the resolution.
Yeah, we don't have it now.
No amendments. Please vote on the resolution.
That fails.
That fails 4-7.
Resolution number 44, approving and authorizing Caddo Parish Water District number 7 to issue, sell, and deliver in the name of the district water district revenue refunding bonds, and the amount not exceeding $400,000.
Move to approve.
Second. That's motion by, was it?
Commissioner Smith.
Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Dominic. I'd like to make a substitute motion to approve resolution number 40, to englobo and adopt resolution number 44 and the number 20.1, is that it? Is that the same?
Yes, sir.
20.1.
LCDGBG.
To include both projects.
Yes, to include both projects, to englobo and adopt. Moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Johnson, to englobo and adopt. I'm sorry,
Are you global and adopting?
the last two.
Okay.
Resolution number
About the
44
LCDBG
and the
project.
PVG. All right.
I ran out of time, but I'm gonna get you next week, Chuck. Chuck Wilson, I'm gonna get you next week. There was too much abuse today.
Mr. Bowles?
You ready?
Ms. Watts? That's not showing there. No, it shows.
That passes 12-0. That motion is adjourned.
Motion adjourned.
Move to adjourn. I'm sorry, I apologize. Are you on person? Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Hey, guys, hey, thank you, President. Really quick, guys, for the monument committee, I know a lot of people want to know about this. I just want to put this information out. In the different districts, they're having the citizen subcommittee doing the things on viewing the social impact and the historical impact. I just wanted to put the dates out really quick. Thursday, May 11th, Southern Hills Business Association at 6 p.m. Tuesday, May 16th, Morning Star Baptist Church, again, 6 p.m. Tuesday, May 18th, it's North Caddo. We're still waiting on your guys' district to figure out where they want to meet at. This one over here. And then Thursday, May 23rd in Broadmoor Middle School, 6 p.m.
Mr. Chavez, that's actually Thursday, May 18th.
Oh.
It says Tuesday, but it should say Thursday.
All right, they're still waiting. They're waiting.
Thank
I got a motion by Commissioner.
Yes, he's gonna put all that out.
Yeah, it'll be sent out.
Commissioner Lynch moved that we adjourn, second by Commissioner Chavez. We still on 5:30.
Hey, bro, man.